Welcome to Empowered in Tech, Women in Tech Netherlands podcast, a show brought to you by the Women in Tech Netherlands community, where we amplify the voices of women shaping the future of technology. I'm your host, Ilaria Severi, expert in branding, social media, marketing, and more. And in each episode, we feature inspiring stories from trailblazing women in our network who have overcome challenges, broken barriers, and built thriving careers in tech. This podcast is born from the mission of our association to inspire, educate, and expand the network of women in technology. Whether you're starting your career or looking for insights from industry leaders, these stories will empower and guide you. Join us as we learn from the women driving the change in technology today. But before we dive into today's inspiring conversation with our special guest, we'd like to take a moment to thank our sponsor, DMN Westinghouse. Established in 1950, DMN Westinghouse is an independent international company specializing in the design and manufacture of high-end rotary valves and diverter valves for various industries that process dry bulk materials. With sales offices and production locations worldwide, they offer tailored solutions and solid support to their customers. Their commitment to pushing the boundaries of technical engineering ensures future-proof solutions that help their customers excel. DMN Westinghouse believes that increasing the representation of women in technology is essential, which is why they have partnered with us to help empower women in the field. Their support helps make this podcast possible and aligns with their vision of a more inclusive and diverse industry. Now, thank you so much to our sponsor, and let's get into today's episode. In this first episode, we're thrilled to have Lieke, the Director of Women in Tech Netherlands. Lieke is a CEO of the Future Expertise Center and Director of Women in Tech Netherlands. Being an innovation ambassador and trend strategist, she's been closely following technological, social, and economic developments for over 30 years. As a strategic consultant of companies, governmental organizations, startups, and NGOs, she's a leading trend analyst and a renowned international keynote speaker on topics such as technology, artificial intelligence, leadership, innovation, digital transformation, diversity and inclusion, and the educational system. Appearing regularly on Dutch TV as expert and a renowned presenter and interviewer, interviewing members of the royal family as well, HRH, King William, captains of industry, famous entrepreneurs, high-profile change makers, and politicians like Prime Minister Mark Rutte, guest teacher at Nyenrode University in the Strategic Leadership Program, and owner of the Dutch broadcast channel Trendwatcher TV, and member of the SER Top Women. Well, I can't wait to welcome Lieke to this podcast. So, Lieke, welcome.
Thank you so much, Ilaria. What a great introduction. Thank you so much for that.
Well, you make the introduction possible, so thank you. And it's great to have you here for our very, very first episode of this new podcast.
Yeah, it's amazing. And I love the fact that especially you put so much effort in making this podcast possible for Women in Tech the Netherlands. So thank you so much for that. And we're really looking forward to many, many nice episodes. And I'm more than honored to be the first to kick off this series of Women in Tech talks on the podcast.
Well, thank you so much. And I'm very happy that finally we're able to bring the voices of all these amazing women that we have in this community to live and available to people worldwide to listen to. So I believe a lot of people are wondering, they would like to know more about your story, and especially your story connected with women in tech. So can you tell us more about the history, actually, of Women in Tech, first of all, and how the Netherlands chapter came to be?
Yes, thank you so much, Ilaria. Yeah, the Women in Tech Global was launched by Ayumi Mor-Aoki. Ayumi Mor-Aoki is our CEO of the Global Women in Tech, located in France, actually. And in 2019, she came to the Netherlands to see if she could launch a Dutch chapter as well. I was there. It was at Elsevier in Amsterdam. It was a great meeting. And we had a room which was sold out in no time. And we had a long waiting list. And there were so many women there. So there was definitely a question from the public to start something like this in the Netherlands. I was there at that first meeting. It was such a great energy. They asked people to be in the board. So I decided to be in the board because I have a big heart for women in tech, especially already had a a lot of things done in the field of empowering women in general, and with the combination of technology only made that better. And then since that started in 2019 in June, and then in I think April, 1st of April 2023, I became the director of the Dutch chapter, which is even more fun than being on the sidelines in the board, but really being active with the chapter.
And can you tell us more about the core mission of the organization? How does it stand out from others in the tech world?
Yeah, we have, as a global, we have a very straightforward mission of empowering 5 million women and girls by 2030 in the field of STEAM. So that's science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics. And we do that driven by the SDG goals, actually. So number 5, of course, is for us very important. That's gender diversity in that sense. And we stand out by the fact that we're such a global network. We have more than 50 chapters worldwide, more than 6 in all the 6 continents, in so many countries, connected with each other, and really focusing on empowering these women and girls. And also seeing that we make connections with the government, make connections with the universities, make connections with the big companies. So it's not only the companies or not only the government, but really seeing that we can empower and pave the way in that sense in all fields.
That's beautiful. And also, I think that's one of the reasons people are joining. That's the reason why I joined, because the mission was very strong and very important. And well, I mean, the introduction I gave already tells a lot. You almost took me out of breath because there were too many things to say. I believe our listeners, as much as myself, would like to know more about your career in tech. So, I mean, it's an amazing career. How did it start? But also, what were some of the challenges that you faced along the way, and how did you overcome them?
Yeah, well, the challenges started really early on in my life, in high school, actually, when I was really fond of technology. But it was really something more for guys. So I didn't really feel like I was being made enthusiastic in that field. It was like, better choose a language, better choose something else. So there was no encouragement in that sense, which I really always had a sad feeling about, because I really would have loved to do that. Eventually, I even had to drop chemistry because they said it was not for me.
Oh, really?
And I did some other technical subjects, but it kind of like blocked the way of studying something technical. So I could not do that. But fortunately, I met my husband, who was completely into tech, and took me along the way. So he kind of like taught me, encouraged me, and pushed me a little bit towards that technology. And it was a very exciting time when the first internet web pages came along, the first web shop.
Yeah.
It was all very new in the Netherlands. And we were one of the first give advice to companies and governments on how to implement that World Wide Web in your company strategy. So that was really a fun time. And I kind of like learned along the way to become more and more technical and more business-wise, etc. And one of the challenges was, of course, that I was always accompanied by my husband, which was a great advantage because he was very supportive. But when you arrive somewhere with a guy, people immediately assume that you know nothing about it and he knows it all. So that was kind of a challenge, actually. But I overcame it. So
well, that's a great story. And I mean, your story can be of inspiration, can inspire future generation, women nowadays. What would you say that, like, how can women in tech cultivate resilience and confidence in a male-dominated space, or in male-dominated space in general? Because this exactly connects to the story that you just told us.
Yeah. Well, it's a male-dominated space. It's a male-dominated world in that sense. And we have some extra challenges as women, and we have to be frank and fair about that. We have, most importantly, the fact that we can bear children and others can't. And we have to choose, do we want to bear children? Do we want to start a family? Yes or no? And if you want to, you have to keep in mind that kind of like puts a stamp on your career in some way. So we try to help understand, let companies understand that it doesn't need to be a completely career break. On the other hand, we want to also give women the choice of where you're going with your life. I myself, I had 4 children. It was sometimes really a challenge to combine everything, because all the environment, the world is actually, how do you say that, made in a way that women stay at home, women take care of the family. It doesn't facilitate much, especially my time. That was even worse. So that's kind of like a struggle, and you have to be very wise and upfront about it. So in that sense, we try to empower girls. but also to speak up, because we tend to be a little bit more timid, more shy, or somehow more insecure. And that's something that you have to learn real fast to not be. Just speak up, let your wishes be known. Don't feel insecure. You're just as much worth as your male colleague in that sense. And let them know. And those are things that we really emphasize at Women in Tech. The imposter syndrome, very well-known syndrome, of course. We speak a lot about that, about the way to reacting to job openings. We tend to want to know be able to tick all the boxes, and we don't have to if you want to apply for a job.
Right. And also, if I can add to that, I was reading about the fact that normally, or I was told even by someone working in HR, that women tend to not upsell themselves too much. So actually, when there is a budget, normally if it's a position that it's normally taken by a woman, they would already start from a lower salary because they know that a woman would say yes to that salary. They wouldn't try to really negotiate. While for a more male-oriented position, they would never do that because they know people will try to upsell, will try to negotiate. So totally.
Yeah. And that comes from a long cultural history where, of course, the guy was the caretaker and he needed to bring in the most of the money, and people felt that he earned more because probably he would be the caretaker of the family. We're now in a completely different era, and I think it's very important we realize that, and we're very aware of those differences. And we dare to speak up, and we encourage each other, and we talk with each other to how can you speak up about that. And on the other hand, also show that we're worth it. I mean, we also have a lot of events where women are able to show their knowledge and their talents. So in that sense, we try to empower people and women as much as we can.
And I wonder now, based on what you just said, was there someone that particularly inspired you or helped you figure these things out, overcome these social barriers, these, barriers that we put to ourselves? Who inspired you? Who helped you? And probably it's more than just one person.
I think it's more than just one person. Of course, I had a lot of help and encouragement from my husband, as I said. So that's a guy.
Which I believe we see in the back. It's nice to see. It's nice to see him. For the people who will see the video, or if you just are listening to us, it's nice because she's talking about her husband and the husband is behind her, which I think it's super nice. It's like a metaphor for what you've just said. So that's super cute.
He's now taking care of the kids.
Exactly.
But he, of course, was a big encouragement. But in the field of women, I have a mother who is very much a housewife mother. She always supported my dad, but she had 4 children just as I did. But she was really a mom. But she has 2 sisters who were not married, who did not have any children.
Okay.
And who really were very feministic in that sense and really worked also in a field of male dominance. One of my aunts was one of the first gynecologists in the Netherlands.
Wow.
That was a great inspiration for me to see that was possible and that you could have a career, that you could choose to not have children or not have a husband or just have a career, or could choose to combine those two. So I had good examples of everything, and that kind of inspired me to go for it. And of course, I have my 3 daughters. I have 4 children, 3 daughters. And those 3 daughters are a great inspiration for me as well, because I saw them walking into the same problems that I walked into at high school.
Of course.
Which really made my eyes fire with anger. And think, things really have to change now. That it's not okay if still we tend to push the girls towards languages and say that's more for guys or whatever. And even now, if you see in the schools, most of technological books have a male person on the cover of the books.
All right.
Those little things, and teachers still saying and she's good with language, or she's so nice, she doesn't have it in her, etc. That can really still make me very angry. So I think that there's a world to win there. So
Yeah. No, I absolutely feel this topic as well. I'm reading a lot about womanhood in general. I wouldn't say necessarily feminism, because feminism sometimes it's taken the wrong way. But it's so true what you said also about the representation in books. And I'm reading this book about women's flow and period, that it's a cycle lasting for 28 days. But the way that science has been brought forward and the way that most things have been studied using men. Therefore, everything is based on a men's cycle, which a men's cycle is a 24-hour cycle. So basically, a men's cycle kind of rebalances itself every 24 hours, while a women's cycle is a 28 days. While we are taught and we live on a 24 hours base. So there is constantly these misalignments, right, in timings in how we feel connected with our body. And the doctor who wrote this book says exactly this about how the narrative is built when we talk about men's reproductivity and reproductive system and women's reproductive system. For men, normally it's used like with very big words, like how amazing it is, their power of, procreation. And instead for the women, it's said, yeah, you will ovulate and every 28 days you'll get your period. And then at some point in your life, you'll get pregnant. While the power also of getting pregnant, of giving birth, it's per se already so big. And definitely that's something, I think now the good thing about it is that we talk about these topics on a daily basis. So it's not, the dust thrown under the carpet anymore. So it's a matter, I believe, of keeping talking about it, keeping also, I feel as women, what you said before as well, to acknowledge it, to be aware and to take steps for it. Because sometimes there are things that we also, I feel, don't recognize for ourselves, things that we stop ourselves from because it's somehow inherited from our ancestors, from the way they used to live, and that we don't challenge ourselves the same way that men would challenge sometimes, right?
Yeah. And I think that's brought about by a dozen of little micro nudges in society. If a woman doesn't speak up, she's modest, she's likable, she's marriable, she's
exactly,
etc. Those little things, and even like you said with the cycle, you see it a lot also in the healthcare, where a lot of things are directed at men, and also the researchers are directed at men. You see it in the history. We of course have a lot of history books about men, and if we talk about women, and there are some great examples in the past, and I myself, I'm a big fan of Eleanor von Aquitania and Catherine the Great.
Yeah.
Those are women who did so much for their country and for technology in their country, the science in their country. But if you read history about them, mostly it's the stories about them having too many sexual partners, or being a little bit crazy or hysterical, or whatever. And all the great things that they did are hardly mentioned. And all the movies on the television of great people in the past mainly are men. And that's really all those little things together make that you want to, as a woman, be in that shape of likable, shy, sweet girl. It starts even in elementary school, etc. So it's very good to be aware of that. Also, in a sense, to change it, especially now with AI coming so fast. And AI, as we know, is trained on data that already exists. Well, if you have history books with a lot of data on men and little data on the women, the AI will be poisoned, will be dirty information, not accurate for women.
And that's actually a very big topic. We could probably do another podcast about it. But I was also at this conference and they were talking about how the database is so biased because many times the inputs are put in by men. So the inputs of there are these communities that basically create the databases for AI, as maybe a lot of our listeners know. And most of them are men. So of course, they will always be biased. So we need to be also very careful now in the age of AI to recognize, to still have an opinion, to still use our brains, I would say. Although I love AI and I use it on a daily basis for my job and I believe it is the future. But as everything needs to be used thoughtfully. But so to round this first episode up, what would you like to tell our listeners?
Well, I would like to tell the males at first that we love our male allies. We are not against men. I want to emphasize that really, really very strongly, because we get a lot of help from men, actually, a lot of support from men. We can learn a lot from them, and we really would want to work with them. On the other side, I see that there are spaces in the society where we really need to fight for our spot. So I want to emphasize for all listening ladies to please do that. Don't be shy. Learn to speak up. I'm a professional keynote speaker on stage. Well, the first times I had to be on stage, I really did not like it. I was scared. I was nervous. But try to overcome that nervousness. Try to be good at networking. Make yourself heard. I have always in my keynotes with women, I have this example from a newspaper of a woman who wrote a letter to the newspaper saying that she was seated next to a guy that was so arrogant, he didn't listen to her. And at the end of the evening, he just asked her, "What is your husband doing?" So she was really very upset about that. And I always use it as an example because it also says something about her. How can you sit next to a guy and listen to him all the evening not mentioning what you're doing yourself,
Yeah.
and make yourself heard. And if he's not listening, go to somebody else. Try to switch places or talk to the one next to you on the other side. But it's also up to you. So don't be a victim too much. There is absolutely something wrong with the society. We should work on that. We should make an effort to let others also make changes. But it also starts with you. So speak up, dare to network, dare to make yourself heard, write or speak from podcasts or blogs or whatever. If you have an opinion, if you have knowledge, share it. Don't be scared to make mistakes. And don't be scared to be ridiculed, because you will be anyway in your life.
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not about, there should be less fear of also making mistakes, because that's human. But I think that's also another thing that women, we carry with us, that if we do it, we have to be perfect. That if we do it, we cannot make mistakes, because there is already a lot of biases. And then if we do it, we have to do it right. But then it doesn't have to be the case, right?
Exactly.
And what about those who maybe are listening to us today? They are based in the Netherlands and they want to join the division of Women in Tech Netherlands. What can they do?
Well, please join. That would be great. We have a very enthusiastic, active team of volunteers at Women in Tech, 30 women who really donate their time and energy to making things work, like you with this podcast. So you could sign up sending a message to me or to somebody else of the team that you really want to join. If you say, really being a volunteer is a little bit too much work, I just want to be connected, then you can sign up on the LinkedIn. We have a very strong LinkedIn community of more than 6,000 people here in the Netherlands. You could also find us on the Hivebright Women in Tech Hub, where we have our own website, and be connected there. And then you're also part of the network, so you can connect with all the women of Women in Tech the Netherlands, which are really, really a lot of women, but also with the Women in Tech chapters around the world. And that gives you access to an enormous network of all kinds of women.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much, Lieke, for being with us today.
Thank you so much for having me. It was a great pleasure.
And thank you to all our listeners for joining us today on Empowered in Tech, Women in Tech Netherlands podcast. Stay tuned for more inspiring stories from the incredible women shaping the future of technology. If you have not done it yet, probably you haven't, because it's the first podcast. Make sure to subscribe to our podcast on whatever channel, whatever directory you're listening to us from. And also, please leave a review if you enjoyed it. I hope to speak to you next time.